Class, we had quite a week sharing about groups and teams. And basically, the topic, and along with the helpful YouTube videos, they present three sets of factors that affect groups, including the group's purpose and the type of group that it is. As we all know, there are so many different types of groups. It looks at purpose of the type of group, the context and composition, and of course the internal factors. So groups do vary in the purpose that they serve the organization and the duration that they are needed. Various barriers exist that derail a group or team, but teamwork is a competency that can be learned. We set norms that govern effective behavior, which obviously has something to do with the organizational culture, and the psychology and safety can be developed over time. So we also covered the distinction between groups and teams. Groups refer to a collection of individuals who may interact, but they don't share similar goals or interdependence. Group processes involve interpersonal, social, and psychological dynamics that arise during human interactions. A group of people can gather together in an office break room each day and they can discuss sports or the latest TV show, but this group does not necessarily constitute a team. I may have mentioned that earlier, but members of a team, a specific type of group, hold interdependent roles and goals. In other words, members of a team depend on each other, they must work together, and they hold similar shared responsibilities. And they're looking for specific outcomes. Many people know about teamwork from participation, sports teams, musical groups, in their jobs, classroom settings like this one, whether it be physical or virtual, musical groups, or in a job. Now, I know I went over this stuff before, but I wanted to reiterate it strongly so you really get to know the differences between the groups and the teams. In a classroom, teams of individuals are responsible for completing a class project. We talked about that as well. Your teams, you've done it. But think of what you did and the dynamic you went through when you were working with your teams. Think of the synergy. When I couldn't get you guys to answer as individuals in the class, when you got together as a team, you were able to really put some good stuff together and then present it within a 50-minute period. So you know what we're talking about has a lot of merit. We talked about polarization and the impact of peer pressure. The polarization effect describes how peer pressure can encourage decision making that leads to decisions that are either riskier or more conservative than individuals making the decision just by themselves. In a classic study, and I talked about this as well, Solomon Asch, he observed that an individual member of the group was more likely to conform to the group's opinion even when the opinion appeared obviously wrong, because you get that peer pressure. So this classic study revealed how peer pressure is an important factor associated with group decision making. Okay, that's the reflection and the end of the week. And a couple of reminders here. I pushed out a couple of dates for you. Okay, check your due dates for your quiz number 3 if you haven't done it, and for your midterm. They are in early April. Okay, and make sure they're posted by the due dates. And then the rest of it is your DQs and work on your final, and we should be good. We will get through this, I promise you. Okay? And next week we go on to the next section, which we will, hold on a second, which will be talking about conflict and negotiation. Great topics. Okay, that'll be section number 10. Have a great weekend, Professor D.